everyone has a story, and instead of criticizing, let's open our minds and learn, right? Let's get into it. People were influencing, you know. When you say this one is a complete monster, this one's a complete victim, people it's real humans that are listening. You don't know where that can lead to. I hear people saying, oh, they're trying to show how he was a violent person for so long. Let me tell you something. Do you know that someone can use false information against you, and that just builds over time? And if you're a person who's busy and trying to build, they say, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to the lies. That lie can snowball. And then everything starts adding up, and people start saying, I've been through some things.
Wow.
I've watched people who've known me to work look at me like I've never worked a day in my life. And I'm so busy trying to build my own life that I'm like, that's not true, so I'm moving on. And now I understand. I'm a YouTuber, right?
Yes.
And now as a YouTuber, I found myself doing something that I always wonder why YouTubers do that. When you stop to explain yourself. When they stop to explain, no, when I said that, I used to say to myself, so what if they get, that's what they get, just move on. No, you have to clarify these days.
Yeah.
Because that thing can snowball and snowball and snowball. And if I'm coming after you, all I have to do is look for your vulnerable areas. I just need to look where someone said you did something and come back with that. As in the case, I remember I was trying to find this clip, but I couldn't find it, where this young lady who worked with him, she was talking about, she said the amount of calls she got. To Dr. Umar Johnson, she said there were so many calls that she got that if she wanted just to make money, she'd just make some money off Diddy. She said, but I couldn't do it because it wasn't true. And she said, what I saw people who, they would come and we're doing the work, and he was there all the time, because he's the money person. But every now and then he would show up. And when when they hear, oh, he's coming today, there are persons who would literally go and change their clothes. Put on some little short things and things like that. I remember I was watching, I think it's, I don't remember who the actor was, but it's a well-known black actor. I don't know if it's Samuel Jackson or it's not Morgan Freeman. I don't remember who it is. But I remember he was sitting and he was being interviewed by a lady, and he said to her, so how, I'm paraphrasing, why you dressed like that? I can see all up under you. What is this? What I'm trying, and with the Harvey Weinstein situation, I saw on the video where she sat with him, there was a table, he was sitting there, and apparently, allegedly, his hand was going up her thigh. She said in the video, too high, too high, too high. I'm going to continue reading. We've got to find fairness, because our children, we plant seeds today, and 10 years, 100 years down the line, these seeds that we're planting today are the new rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Understanding personal accountability in the context of domestic violence. Personal accountability is the recognition of one's choices and their consequences. For many individuals who experience abuse, this concept can be life-altering. Often, victims feel powerless, as if their situations are unchangeable. Teaching personal accountability encourages these individuals to see that they have the ability to create positive changes, even in dire circumstances. Even the way this is written, you can see it's still a bit skewed, even though it's trying, right? Okay. For instance, research shows that individuals who engage in accountability training have a 47% higher chance of making healthier relationship choices afterward. The statistic highlights the transformative effect of understanding and owning one's actions and decisions, the role of empowerment in prevention. Empowerment is central to breaking the cycle of domestic violence. When individuals realize they are responsible for their own choices, they are less likely to remain passive. Empowerment boosts self-esteem and helps individuals set clear boundaries in their relationships. By fostering self-worth, individuals become adept at recognizing warning signs of potentially abusive relationships before they escalate. Programs focused on teaching personal accountability equip victims with essential skills to make informed choices, reducing the likelihood of returning to harmful situations. We're talking 10 to 11 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to the practical strategies later. I'm going to share the story of what I experienced.
Okay.
Again, let me make this clear. To those related to my mother, this is not about you. This is my personal story, my personal experience, my personal recollection of what I experienced. My mother, you're not here, but I'm not saying this to hurt or harm you, because I've grown to understand and in hindsight see that you did not know better. You just didn't know better. I cannot expect you to do more than you can. Yes? No, I was about 16 years old. I was in high school. I used to visit my mother and spend time there. I never really lived with her because I met her. I think when I met her, I was like 13 years old or something like that. When I met her. Yes. But I remember one day,
Okay.
yeah. I remember my mother and her partner. I'm just going to tell you what I remember from what happened. It seems as though he found a piece of paper in his shoe. Right? If I can remember based on my memory. Right? And I'm now 44 years old, so you can do the calculation. I was 16 then. So I don't know that I have perfect memory, but I promise you that experience will never leave my mind, because every time I think I like a guy, it presents itself.
Wow.
Yes, it presents itself. Racquel, you could become that. You look just like her. Yeah. And I think I don't know if they were arguing back and forth or whatever. And this is what my mother did. And please watch your comments and be respectful. Yes. She came in. I think my mother used to use the bathroom at nights. Like, she used to have this thing, and it took me I used to be like, man, I wish I could go to the bathroom like she did. She had this rhythm. Every night she goes and she does a number 2. I don't remember if she did this in the morning too, but I know like it's like every night. And I remember that particular time. She used the bathroom overnight. And she didn't flush it intentionally. And then when she was arguing with the man, she sent her child or children, because I think he was one of my sisters and my little brother, to scoop it out and bring it to her.
Wow.
And she poured it on him. And he got a piece of board, and I'll never forget, he hit her on her nose. It was broken. She had a scar. And I remember they got upset at me because I said, I'm not getting involved in this. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved. I'm not fighting. I just felt from that time, I just felt it was so wrong. Even before it got to that extent, when I heard I don't recall exactly what the conversation is, but I recall that I thought it was unfair. I did not see at the time what he did wrong. I didn't understand it. At the time, I still felt like, I feel like the aggressor was the woman. And it's not on him. I don't know if I was skewed because of how I felt about her. But that's what happened. That happened, right? Why am I even bringing this up? I am not saying Sean Combs is innocent. Excuse me. I'm saying the aggressor is also sick. There are 2 victims and 2 perpetrators. And I think the only way we can really address this is to see it with fair eyes. Because if we keep seeing it with unfair eyes, it's only going to get worse. Especially for the victim. We're not helping the victim. We're not helping anyone by telling them they're victims. Cassie, based on the reports, has been in this relationship with this man for 10 to 11 years. I cannot find it just that you stayed after the first hit and the second hit and the third hit. I don't care what syndrome you want to come up with. There needs to be some accountability, not just to her, but the witnesses that failed to report. I'm not saying people should fight for her. And I think, based on my experience of having seen and I experienced a similar thing with my sister, and God, I love her so much. She's my favorite. But she was the aggressor. And every time the police showed up, it was, this is the guilty and this is the victim. Sometimes I was the one who called the police. And sometimes I had to say to the police, no, that's not what happened. And I felt like I was trying to convince them. Because there was already a mindset. This is the perpetrator, full evil, full victim. That is dangerous.
You know,
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you. Please your thought. I'll chime in.
I was going to say, I don't know if you've heard me say this, but because we've worked together for a while, for a very, very long time. I think it stopped about, we're in 2025 now. I'd say it stopped maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, about 4 years ago, yeah.
When I stopped having nightmares about my sister and her partner fighting. They're married now. I've seen my sister lift a boulder and throw in that car. I've seen I'm going to say it this way. What Sean Combs did was nothing compared to what is happening in our homes. What Sean Combs did is nothing compared to what my mother did to me. I'm not saying it's right, I'm saying we're treading down a dark road if we're not careful when it comes to justice.
Yeah. I mean, you make it a good point. I think, though, what it is that, you have the side to where males are supposed to be the protector.
Fair. That's fair.
By nature. It's like there's something about a male to be a covering, the kind of a safe place. I mean, you can walk on the street any time of the night. If you're walking with a guy, there's a safe feeling that you get. Safe, And I think that whatever has been exposed, like I said, if I was to take out the charges opposed to other areas,
right, just the violence,
it almost like makes you want to think that what we didn't see, if we saw that, what happened there behind closed doors. Also, you think about even a woman at her strongest is almost sometimes still weak to a man. It's almost like it's still like, come on, she's a baby, in that sense of the word. But I think also, this is where I'm concerned. You have a situation where we know it's not fair, and these men, I've seen other men in the past, what they have gone through, even for less things. You're not abstract. You're not, you're aware of these things. You're also aware of the country you're in. Right. You're aware of scenarios where, much less than that, I've putting people away for life and for a long time.
Yes.
And you would think with that knowledge and that understanding, you would kind of be a lot more on cue.
Wise? About wiser?
Why?
Do better?
I would say
be better?
I wouldn't say wiser better, but you would think a little more critically, know what you know.
May I ask you something? And I want to be, in our conversation, I don't want us to go into a debate. I don't want us to debate this. I just want us to talk. If you kick a dead donkey, will it move? I talked about this, I think, when I talked about the Shannon case. And you're right, Keith. You're so right. But safe can only come from that which feels safe. I can't, and why do you think I'm saying what I'm saying? Because I want men to feel safe, or at least feel like it's fair, so they can provide safety. We can't expect men who's treated unfairly to just pretend they don't feel it and then show and give us safety. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I don't want us to debate, because this is not a debate. And God bless your heart for even saying that. And forgive me for what I'm about to say. But my intention is breakdown for self-work, breakthrough. You've heard, I've said to you, my listeners wouldn't have heard me say it, but I've said to you, thank you for staying in the ring with me. Remember? Okay. Let me tell you all the sides I felt, but I never said. Right? Because I understood that. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, let me just say this. I felt like you were violent towards me emotionally. And it's no different from physical violence. As a matter of fact, I prefer you hit me. Because you remember, I've said this to you. And God bless you for even allowing me to say this, because I didn't prepare you for this. Yes? And let me be clear. Don't nobody say anything about Keith to me. In front of him, behind him. This is the guy that stayed in the ring for me to have done my self-work. At the time, Keith, I couldn't even see how I was doing the same to you. I couldn't even see if you were trying to protect me. I couldn't even see safety. I could sit here and say I felt like you were as violent to me as Diddy was on that video, except yours was not physical. I could say that. I could. What I'm trying to say is, what am I trying to say? There is something I'm trying to say. At the end of it, Keith, everybody's human, and we all have 24 hours, and we all have oxygen, and our bodies may look different. You can't give me what you don't have. And when you understood how I felt, you met the demand. You were there. I'm speaking the truth, right? Because I've been vocal. When you got an understanding of, oh wow, you've told me I'm sorry so many times. But just imagine you are wealthy and you're going through all of this, and I drag you through it to talk about what really happened to me. But I never talk about how I participated. I never talk about how I sometimes triggered you. I never talk about the fact that I stayed. Didn't I? I remember at one point in time we started praying, and what happened? It's like we're in the middle of an argument and started praying. We went on fasting. People in interactions, Keith, especially if the interactions are authentic, we are bound to hurt each other. We will.
Yeah.
If we do not cultivate an environment of fairness and justice, we cannot expect people who don't feel like they're being treated fairly to show up and give fairness. If I feel threatened as a man, what kind of safety can I ever provide? We're lying to ourselves. We are lying to ourselves, and then when we fail, we're wondering if something is wrong with us. Nothing is wrong with you. Oh my gosh, Keith, talk about the time I used to scream at you. I didn't have to scream, Keith. I could have simply walked away. Took me a long time. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how I got it. There's a young man I know, I'm not going to call his name because, an absolute angel. And he's never really done me anything wrong. I've talked to you about this when I was trying to find myself. Remember? When I had the issue, I talked to you about it, trying to learn what just happened, trying to understand it. I was so mad at this guy. You know that this guy has never led me on. This man left where he was, came here and say, let's go. I'm taking you out. I decided I wanted to stay. But after everything happened, in my mind, I hear myself say, oh, he led me on. Oh, and I had to be like, whoa. Keith, when I came to you as a man seeking your perspective, it's not because I wanted to tell you my business. It was embarrassing to tell. I was trying to take personal accountability.
Right.
And when I really look back at it, oh my God, this man never did anything wrong, actually. He was being himself. When I look at this whole case with Sean and Cassie, Sean was being himself. We cannot tell young girls they're too young to identify that this person does not care about them. Let's not forget, there was a lifestyle.
And you know, and for some reason or the other, I just said, we all kind of, we get things differently, we hear things differently, we interpret things differently.
Yes.
I've heard enough. I heard enough to see where I don't see where one side, me personally, is saying 100% right, 100% wrong. I heard some questions, and I was like, wow. It was that's what it is. Did you pick up the soap? Yes, I did. Did you throw the soap? Yes, I did. Did you did you date somebody? Yes, I did. Did you call? I hear the accountability being.
I heard Cassie being fair. I had to respect Cassie on the stand.
So I was like, wow. I was like, man, this is incredible.
But they're not being treated that way, though.
That's what I'm
saying.
That's what
I'm
earlier.
not saying this man should be. Oh, he didn't. That's not what I'm saying. There is a tradition, I think, a culture of the desperation to quote unquote save women cause us to desperately ignore men.
Oh yeah, that's been going for a long time.
But how can we do that? Then not expect a Sean Combs to be a Sean Combs.
I think what it is, which is kind of weird, but it's interesting, is that the way what's happening now, their pockets are all across the country that's doing that. With a small studio. I mean, I've known people who said they're going to small studios, and they're not big names. They're not known like that, and they would say, you know what? Man, it's like if we're going to want to sleep with me, these men can't just want to record. So I think that
it's a real thing.
Yeah, so I think that this case is shining such a bright light.
I think it has the potential.
Because you know why? You know why I say that, Racquel? I look at my daughter when she was younger. She was like, "Dad, I want to be a singer," and me knowing some things in the business,
right?
She's clueless to what she thinks singing may do to her someday. Or a lot of people say, "I'm gifted. Oh, you should go to Hollywood. You should go." I was told when I was younger, I want to go have her do some prints. She can be in Sesame Street. She can be here. People don't know these behind scenes.
And it's not just in the music industry. Keith, it happened to me in business. It happened to me at the office.
There you go. You're smart.
How do we equip our young girls and boys?
I think what we do it right now.
Right? For them.
I think what we do it now is to show the case, also show the unequalness of the case, the injustice.
Hold everyone accountable.
Right. And so with that now,
that's how we're having a conversation.
It can be a teachable moment as to what can happen.
Yes.
On this level, on that level. Because to me, this is it's such a paradigm shifting event that I think people now are going to listen. Even though I'm in power now, I have the power.
You can lose it tomorrow, or you want to know that you're not being targeted. Because to be honest with me, to be honest with you, Keith, I see Sean Combs as being targeted, and there is because at the end of this, here we are talking about domestic violence. There will be no domestic violence charge.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's so interesting about the case.
Okay, I saw a conversation, the same program I was talking to you about, right? Let me see if I can find it because I'd rather read it for you.
Yeah.
The mother went on the stand. Her mother, remember now, Cassie was 19. I wanted to point that out. Cassie was 19, but her mother and father were present. Let me say that again. She might have been 19 or 21. Her mother and father were present, and they were adults. What do you say about that? What do you say about that? If this was your child, let me find this. We've got to be fair. We have to be fair. No, we have to be fair.
It's never going to be fair, which is sad. That's the reality.
And guess what? For as long as it's not fair, we continue to suffer. Your child will suffer. Because you see, we think if we kill Sean Combs, I heard one person say, why don't you just lock him up or kill or let him just die?
Wow.
How violent. You are being violent towards someone who's violent. So after you say that, then you should be under the jail too. I'm saying, are we even in the awareness? Because something happens and we get in our emotions and we just start, we're so triggered because we don't realize that we're being rage baited. And we run these conversations. Our children are listening. Our children are listening, Keith.
And then
listening.
If you think about it, right?
Yes.
You get someone like this and lock him up for life. He's now become more of he could be so much more of an asset to the world.
Yes.
If he gets years, maybe, and able to speak and talk about what he learned, or maybe what he can do differently, but maybe how he can help people with that, with where he was and how he probably maybe came out of that kind of mindset. But if it's not right, what can you get from him?
And that's exactly what this show is about. It's about breakdown for breakthrough.
Yeah.
Self-work for breakthrough. Because I know that this right here, the reason I'm having the conversation is because what is happening to Sean Combs is not haphazard and it's not man's doing. It's God's doing. It's God disrupting patterns. And I'm saying, let's not miss the self-work and the lessons so we can have breakthrough. That's why I'm having this conversation. That's why I'm having a conversation. Now, here is an email that reportedly or allegedly, it was used on the stand that Cassie sent her mom. All right? Let me see if I can show.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Now, listen to this email. To mom's new email. The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit sex tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another one sometime soon after that. He has also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Mescudi physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. Have their children ever emailed you like that about one of their friends? Does that sound like a daughter emailing her mother? And this was what, 2011? Who says towards me by Sean, in quote, Puffy Combs? I don't talk like that. I'm going to say, Mommy, you know what Sean says what he's going to do? We've got to pay attention here. You're talking to your mother. Why does it sound so legal, litigious? It's almost like you're curating evidence. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm saying, Keith, I like to know what things I think. Let it be what it is. Don't play me. I don't like that. Give me for what it is. This is 2011, Keith. They were together until 2018, reportedly. You said this to your mother and none of them in real time extracted you from that relationship? Come on, Keith. We're not talking 19-year-old anymore. And this is what I shared this thing on Facebook some time ago. I don't remember this is another troubling thing for me that I'm concerned with. You have these women who present themselves as the, what do I call it? Number 10s? What is it? You're a number 10? You're a number 10? And your little daughter and my little nieces and nephews see them as the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Don't realize they're telling them lies. And they have more influence over your child than you will, feeding false information about the realities of life and relationship. And nobody should be held accountable for that. Cassie should not be held accountable for the lies she portrayed by positioning herself and negatively influencing young girls. What am I trying to say? I don't know if my point is getting across here. The more unfair we are, the more we fail to see what is real, what is true, the less chances we have of fixing it or correcting it to move forward.
Yeah, true.
It's not about beating Cassie. In fact, as anyone, this is number 13 episode of my podcast, and I always say, thank you to the people whose story influenced my self-work. I thank Cassie. I thank Sean Combs. I thank the justice system. I thank you. I thank everyone involved in this story. But we have to see, all of us have to speak what it is from where we sit. I don't expect you to have my perspective. And I expect you to speak your perspective, the truth from what you see.
Right.
The society, I believe, has become so blindsided. We don't even know what truth is anymore.
No, hey, that's that. I mean, you can say it again. You can say that again.
I'm going to ask you, with no fairness, your child sends this to you. What would you do as a parent? Do you leave that child in that relationship or talk it through, fight it through, whatever, and just stay there for the next 7 years? Or what do you do? That's your child.
That sounds very serious. That sounds like, I mean, the thing is that I'm sure that a whole lot went on, if that's the truth better, that maybe what they were trying to navigate, but probably one part will never be heard. But I think
you have to kill me. I would be dead. I would be dead.
but the people who I think that when it comes to life, they look at life differently and surviving and living. I mean, that's why you have a person they'll be in jail.
Yes.
And they would come out and they would get a probation. And they decide to do something very bad, like maybe go back to the drugs again. They drive on the highway, the cop pull them over. They say, you know what? We'll spend 10 days in jail. If I let this cop search my car, I'm dead. So I'm gonna drive off anyway. I'm gonna take a risk and drive off.
In the end, that person can say, you know what? I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. I can respect you.
Yeah.
But when you show up, I think it is dangerous. The way the Cassie story is being reported is dangerous to girls. I think it's more damaging than what Sean Combs did, because you're saying to young girls, it's okay if you remain passive. You're not expected to defend yourself. There's no role that you play in your victimhood. That's dangerous. I think you only tend to tell someone that if you really don't want violence to end. If you really truly want people to not end up in domestic violence situation, as the article was saying, you've got to teach them how to see themselves in it.
But you know what's funny about it too? I think most people, sadly, the reality is that they don't understand the effect that they have on the culture.
Is it that they don't understand or they don't want to know?
I don't think they understand.
I think some people don't want to know. Some people don't care.
I think some people just don't, it's like, believe it, a lot of people, I'll give you an example. You go to the church, you're an audience of 300 people, and you're saying, all I do is just drink on Saturday night and go to church on Sunday morning. My thing is not bad. Either what they're saying, I'm a little sex every other day or whatever. I don't have to live my life a Christian life. I'm not killing nobody. Either what they're saying, I don't take money off them once in a while. I don't do it every time. And so each person that's contributing to the defect of that organization or that body is saying, I'm my little finger. My little finger. I'm not that bad. But really, it's all
everybody's making a choice.
Now. So I think a lot of people don't. I'm telling you, I myself, I've been told, even when I perform, I do my music, and sometimes when people react to me, I'm like, I don't understand why. I don't get it. I just don't understand what you get that I don't get. The effect of what I do. I mean, I remember even being I was in college and said, I'm a Christian, and they've been watching me, but I don't think I'm a normal kid. I'm going to school.
Yeah.
And I was like I would go to them and they're like, what are you doing here? You don't being here. You don't belong there. I'm thinking, but I'm a normal kid, but they don't see you that way. But you don't you feel normal. You feel like I'm a whatever, But a lot of people, they don't understand how the weight they carry.
And do you think that could be because we're not teaching people self or personal accountability.
100%.
Themselves.
100%.
And it makes us more vulnerable.
Yes.
If every night I go outside, there's a bear standing out there, and I keep going out there, and one day the bear eats me.
Yeah.
What are you going to kill the bear for? I am not.
I must say, I must say this though. I must say this though. There's been I would say a entrapment, and there's a disguise.
Yes.
People don't come
in some cases.
In usually up front to say, hey, in this world, that's what we do. We don't do what we do. They kind of give you a lot of stage agent, kind of, translucent, not transparent, not opaque, but just enough to see through and to get you to be interested. But then in the back end of it now is where you say, well, if you want to leave now, you leave now. We're going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then you start seeing these people are really mean. They're not as kind as they presented themselves when they came up with that and say, hey, we take care of her and we'll so and so on. And then all of a sudden you start seeing the real thing comes out. So I don't think people.
And you are still accountable for your role in it. Because I say, even in this, right, it's not just Cassie. I'm saying, hey, Cassie, you should hold yourself accountable. I'm talking about the people. Like I said, one of the guests on that program was a former CIA agent. And another person, she was another, I think, she was another quote unquote expert voice as well.
Okay.
Now, here you have these expert, quote unquote, expert voices having conversation, and none of them speaking of accountability.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I'm talking about. It's not so much that I'm saying, Cassie, you should take up. No, let's say Cassie, let me tell you how I see it. Cassie and Sean Combs were equally sick because he expressed violence towards her and she stayed. Both of them, something's wrong. They both need help. Sean Combs needed help too. And I remember when you were saying, if that happened in public, what happened behind doors, that was behind doors. They never thought that video was coming out. So that was not him standing in public hitting her. That was the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I think it's important for to be fair, or to try to be as fair as possible. You know what I mean? Right? They were just, if there is no way I can look at someone constantly hitting me and thinking he's okay.
I don't think that was the case. I think it's a little deeper than that. It's almost
nobody can tell me that Sean Combs does not have a problem. The man was. They're saying even the video she told reportedly on the thing she told her mother he's gone dark. He is that high. You literally just said the man is incapacitated because of drugs, but everybody is holding him accountable as though he had 20/20 vision, like you and me, Keith.
I know. Yeah, yep.
So why does he get to be a complete monster? Don't care about what he's gone through. Believe you me, Keith, I'm finally beginning to understand when men say, it's like, I don't matter. I never got it because I kept saying, but you're supposed, and I still hold that. I still hold men accountable for it because the result of where we are is because of your leadership as a man. This is the result of man's leadership.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think one of the big issues is men are not taking accountability. Not taking accountability for where we're at. And I think that women, Keith, I'm more afraid of women than I'm of men. I think, let me tell you something. I don't underestimate Cassie. I'm a woman. I do not underestimate Cassie because Sean was just as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable than she was. Just imagine, you can always go tell on him. She could have always gone and told on him. When you're going to send such an email to your mother and father, and when I hear the mother coming in there, lady, hold a seat at far back. Because you're all sick, all of you all. And until we recognize their sickness, nobody's going to go seek treatment. You stayed and allowed your child or adult, because it could also be that she couldn't even stop her child from staying there. Let's talk the truth now. You say to her, you need to leave. And she says, oh, I love him. She literally said, Keith, she did it because she didn't want him to do it with somebody else. You know, one of the things I had to sit myself down and say to myself, Racquel, why are you so heartbroken when there's a guy that you like that he doesn't want you? Doesn't he have the right to not love you just like you have the right to love him? Doesn't he have the right to love? A lot of times we have resentment against men, and it's not because they've done something wrong. It's because we're not getting what we want from them. I don't even think we're aware, because Keith, I'm telling you, I wasn't aware of it either. I wasn't doing it intentionally. I didn't realize it until I took time to work on myself.
Yeah.
And to question myself. And this is something I always do. And what I'm saying in this moment is, we've got to do that. Even the cases, and I wanted to talk about his kids. You see,
Racquel. See, yes. Your approach won't bring money. Your approach won't bring sensation.
Right there.
Your approach won't bring the excitement.
Right there.
You know, and it's like you have bad news spread faster than good news. I mean,
yes.
What's news about? It's about.
And who cares that our kids are listening?
Yeah.
And
it doesn't sell. Not sensational enough.
And soaking it in. Now, what about his children? Even for me, I felt like the way the authorities handled this thing with Cassie, I think it was violent to Cassie. Why didn't that need to be a part of the bench trial? Why couldn't it have been a bench trial? Why do we need to know she's had over 100 freak offs with different men?
I thought about the same thing. I thought about the same thing too.
And even though I say that, right, guess what happened? My mind also goes back to, but Racquel, no, she has liberty. She has freedom. It's no longer on her. It's out there. Can't use it against her.
Wow.
I'm not saying my perspective is right, you know. I'm just having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I think about his children. Her children. And there's this man out there, his name is Aldi Shore. Now, you're a parent, I'm not. If your child's mother, let's say your child, right? Let's say your son was raised by another man who he calls dad. Your child's mother passes away, and the media is saying that the man who the child now calls dad did it. Would you run around town without evidence and echo that sentiment?
Wow. Goodness.
Would you? Or would you at least leave it until there's evidence, or do your own research, remembering, because this is it, right? When I get at that man is the foundation upon which my son stands. This man is the arms in which your child lays. So you're just going to shake him over just like that with your child in his lap, with no evidence, by the way. And the closest people to her are coming out to say, you should stop doing that. That's just not true. You weren't close to her. Such a person cannot have me think they're doing it for the right reasons. You understand what I'm saying?
It's a real mess. It's a real.
Wouldn't you want to protect your child? If right now you know your child's mother is doing something, wouldn't you want to approach it a certain way?
Of course.
You would be thinking about your child who is laying on her lap, right? Wouldn't you be thinking, this is going to affect my child, do I want to be public with it?
Exactly.
Maybe you need to do something private. I don't know. I'm just saying that the way the things are happening, I've never been wealthy, but I don't have to be wealthy to know. How Sean is being treated is how a lot of employers are treated. People treat employers like you're obligated to hire me, you're obligated to pay me, and God help you if you don't do it, because I'm going to make sure your business crash. I've been there.
Yeah.
I have fired employees who are not working, and they come from me with, I remember one time the entity that's in charge of labor They contact me about this person who was a contract, but the person went and said they're my employee and I didn't pay them and I let them go. And I had to hold them accountable and say, you are the authority and you didn't do your research? Because if you had done your research, you wouldn't have called me. Where are my rights?
Right. Wow.
If you had done your research, you wouldn't be calling me. You'd have known that where's the employee contract that she gave you to demonstrate that she was an employee? Not even the basic evidence did they ask for, require.
Wow.
What am I trying to say? I'm saying, Keith, we have built a culture on this quote unquote good bad, and whoever we think is the poor or whoever we think is the most vulnerable in our minds, not who's vulnerable, who we think is more vulnerable.
Who we think.
We automatically feel this is who we should protect for. This is who we should protect. This is who we should defend. And it's almost as though the other person is an entire different entity, like an alien. Yet we expect these same persons to go back and function around the very victims you claim to protect and be normal and cool. I say we plant seeds, then blame trees. We plant seeds and blame trees.
Wow.
You plant the seed and it grows up. Now it's become a tree, you have a problem. But you planted the seed.
You said something very important earlier. And I think this kind of should encapsulate what we discussed today.
Right.
That a lot of times God allowed these things to happen. It caused breakdowns because some things in life, there has to be a restart. Reborn, rebirth. Because there's stories I can pivot to. That are considered Bible stories where things got so bad and so overwhelming that there be a restart because there's so much. And that's being exposed, there's so much around that we don't even see. That sometimes I think shaking, sometimes when there is injustice at a certain level, sometimes people are crying out. There's I cannot underestimate my inner impressions and feelings, and sometimes calling downloads or revelations. Sometimes you can't put words to it, but you go by that vibration,
Yes.
Take off the mask and the cords and everything, and what do you really feel inside your heart?
Yes.
When you feel, because I think we're larger than we think, we're bigger than we think, we know more than we think, we understand more than we think we understand. We're spirit beings in a body.
Yes.
We're not that aware of how it works and how it really operates. We kind of have this short thing to kind of explain it, but I think a lot of times we feel these things are really real. Like we can't, and sometimes when we say something like conspiracy theory, like what they say doesn't make sense. It's like when kids are talking to things like, who are you talking to? And the kid is like, I'm talking to something. It's real right there, don't you see? And the kid is saying, it's real to me. You're like, oh, that's just nothing.
Yes.
So we can feel things. So I tend to go, not just what I hear and see and absorb and try to, find my own solution. But I really feel that, something's wrong here,
Yes.
And I think it's the magic word. We talk about trauma. Everything starts from there.
Yes.
And only God, when people do certain things, only God knows
Only
they came
God
from,
knows
what they got it from. And as you mentioned your story, I'm like, I never heard it before. I was like, a bullet hit me. We're like, what? You went through that?
Yes.
I'm like, my God, I've never heard it before.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, Keith, what you went through? I'm close to that.
Yes, and I'm telling you, Keith, people are going through things different. All people.
Wow.
When I look back, even in Sean's case, even just looking at the case, I sit myself down and I'm like, wow, this man has gone through some things, Some things are happening here. And you see, in light of even with what you just said, even with everything I just said to you, I say this. I still know that everyone is exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And I'm going to speak my truth of it, but I'm never asking you to change what you're saying.
Yes.
But I know the importance of my voice added to the conversation. So I'm not trying to tell them to stop.
Yeah.
Let all the voice come together as a chorus.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why the Bible says that the wheat and tear grow together. Grow together. And perhaps that's why somebody like me is here. I really never really used to listen to Sean Combs. I was never really, it's after this whole thing, I'm like, okay, let me go check something out. I've heard his songs, I didn't know anything. I didn't know it was his songs. I'm really Israeli country that I listen to a lot.
I know, yeah.
It has been weighing on me when I tell you, I've been praying for this man from the beginning of things. And I'd be like, what is that? What is that I'm feeling? What is it?
Mm.
You know, and I think for me, what happens is whenever I feel like a hammer is being used to kill an ant, the empath in me comes out, I think.
Yeah.
And I think another dangerous part of lack of fairness is that victims can be further victimized.
True.
You know, I just want to wrap this up with thank you, Keith, for having this conversation with me. Thank you so much. I just want to wrap it up by sharing practical strategies for teaching personal accountability. And I'm just going to do the headline. And as a matter of fact, this article is going to be coming out on a website that I'm working on. It's not finished yet.
Nice.
Allegedly.Blog. Still working on it because this one I'm taking my time. Number 1, workshops and support groups. Number 2, life skills training. 3, education on healthy relationships. 4, encouraging reflection. Building and supporting network. 1, creating an environment of trust. See, fairness. You see, people are not even saying was he right or wrong. They want the appearance of fairness is important to create trust. Utilizing peer mentorship. And then you have breaking down stigmas and barriers, normalizing conversations about abuse. Let us be able to talk and say what we're saying, which is why I would never shut somebody up, even if I disagree, right? Yeah. Combating shame, because sometimes shame too is why they don't take accountability, because they think we're going to judge them further. They know what they've done. And then you have the journey to self-empowerment, fostering resilience, creating lasting change. A hopeful path forward. And I wrap up with this. Teaching personal accountability to individuals who have faced abuse provides a crucial pathway toward breaking the cycle of domestic violence. By empowering them to control their lives and actions, we pave the way for prevention and healing. And I'm going to close this, and then I'll let you say your final thoughts by saying, there's an angel that entered my life in 2016, and I'm so thankful to him. I'm thankful to you too, because you stayed in that ring with me. And what staying in the ring with me, what I mean by that is you did not abandon me as I was finding my voice. As painful as that might have been for you, there's no, it wasn't painful for you, because it was painful for me. So I know it was painful for you, and I just say thank you so much for such kindness. You never left when I screamed, when I shouted, when I and I needed that, because you need real life experiences for techniques to become solidified, right? And what that did was it helped me realize that, okay, everyone is not going to run away, so you don't have to scream and shout, because the screaming and shouting is fear. It's trying to get it all out, because you want to get all out before they run away. You want to make sure you put everything out there. So really and truly, what I needed was a hug. I didn't need criticism. I didn't need, oh my God, I want you to talk so low. Why you let her talk to you like that? All of that is gaslighting and unhealthy and unkind. That's not generous. Like I said, I remember when I was screaming, I wasn't trying to be cruel, but I was cruel. Sean's violence is him screaming out too.
Yes.
Cassie's staying there was her screaming out too.
Yeah.
Right? And I met this angel in 2016, and I tell you why his thing was so different. And boy, I tell you, I tried to thank him so many times to the point where I thought that he couldn't hear me. And I feel like he has finally heard me. And it was so amazed when it happened, because I'm like, closure. I literally felt something in my soul say, finally, I got to say what I had to say. I remember when everything happened and I was blaming him for things he never did. And all I got was gentle kindness. Gentle kindness. When I tell you, the only response I got was, I never even knew how much I needed gentleness, Keith.
I got you.
All the man gave me was pure gentleness. I've never gotten that in my life before. Because people were too busy criticizing and judging me and blaming and making a monster out of me to help me. If you help me, I will still face my consequences. Caring about Sean Combs will not limit his consequences. He will still face his consequences. But we don't have to use a hammer to kill an ant. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yours. Your final words.
I would say this.
Yes.
Thank God the people like you in this world, right?
Oh, wow.
And again, it does show that amongst all who may see and express themselves one way about the situation or any given situation,
yes,
there are those who help to push balance, to push fairness. The other day I made a video the other day, and I said, "Isn't it amazing how you started driving my car?" And I didn't understand about the mechanics of a car, but one day the battery died.
Yes.
And I didn't understand how the battery works. God came and said, "Keith, there's a negative side of the battery. There's a positive side of the battery.
Yes.
Put the card on the negative side first." I said, "Where's the negative side?" So for the car to run, and do well, and take me to my destination, I need to have the negative side
and the
positive side working together cohesively.
Yes.
To make the car run.
Absolutely.
So we can learn from these things.
Yes.
Understand that we can now become more self-aware.
Yes.
So when I look at something, what's my impulses? What is my biases? Why do I want this? Why do I feel hate? What do I feel love? What do I feel confused? And be a little more introspective on that. I think even though we can't touch these people or touch their lives, but we can touch our lives.
Yes.
Better.
Yes.
That's my life.
Absolutely. And I just want to wrap this the right where you said the negative and the positive. David's story, or rather Goliath's story, was just as important as David's. Thank you so much. I just want to say, guys, thank you to Sean Combs, Cassie Ventura, their parents, their families, the justice system, the prosecution team, the juror, the defense team, the media people, the social media people. I just want to thank everyone in this story, but I especially want to thank Cassie and Sean for their breakdowns that is inspiring us to have these conversations so we can do our self-work, so we can benefit from what God is doing in their lives and get breakthroughs from it. That is the reason we do this. Keith, I just want to say thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was great being here.
You just showed up. You're one of my angels, and I just say thank you humbly. Thank you so much.
Yes, and let me just say to the audience, please subscribe to this channel here, guys. Please subscribe because she has a lot to bring, and there's so much more here to come. So,
that's so sweet of you. And I also want them to subscribe to your channel and tell us a little bit about what you do on your channel. I know you talk about online. I kind of get from your channel like you're going through how to navigate the online space and reap the good fruits from it.
Yes.
That's kind of what I get from your channel. And this channel is Keith Merritt on YouTube.
Yes.
Next Level Living. Go ahead and tell us about it. Share the link again, and I'll add those links as well to the description of this video. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, if I can just give it in a nutshell, it's really, again, I have to do with my breakdown of being online, in the online space for 20 years. And I think that the wisdom of someone who's been around online for a while can help you
absolutely.
navigate some and avoid some unnecessary spending of money, spending of your time, because many people, many families see the online world as a way out. They don't like the 9 to 5. They don't see themselves in that area.
Right.
Kind of routine, and they see this another way out. And the reality is that there's a lot of trappings in there, a lot of things that you gonna find that wait a minute, it's not what it seems like. So having that experience, I can offer something to you that lets me get your understanding, get your mind in a space where you're approaching it systematically, but also in a very comprehensive kind of approach.
Yes.
Because their success is online. Success is online, but also you can waste a lot of time. You can destroy your relationship, and behind the curtain, you know what's going on there. That can be very, very, very hard. When you have those hard falls, you wonder, it's like it can affect you moving forward with other great things. Yes. So my idea is that I want to share with you to consider thinking about something more strategically, opposed to like, here it is, looks good, let me grab it and go.
Approach it with personal accountability.
Yes.
That's the same thing you're saying.
Yes.
So you're coming back to teach, having taken your own personal accountability, and that's the power of accountability. If you don't see where you've made a mistake, you have nothing to teach.
There you go.
But the moment you realize, I've made 20 years of errors, I can teach you how to navigate the web and not have a greater loss as I have.
Yes.
Right there. Right there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Right. Take care.
Yes.
And now we're going to go to our next segment. So thank you so much for staying with us for Allegedly. I love to open new packages. I want to give you the latest information on the top funding opportunities for entrepreneurs who are seeking funding. Come along with me. I'm Coach Racquel, and it is this passion project for me. So I am so happy to bring this to you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.
Unlock your potential every Thursday with our podcast, Refresh, Relax, Renew. Join Coach Racquel as she guides you through personal development journeys. Each episode focuses on actionable steps to enhance your personal journey. The podcast features 3 main segments to keep you engaged. We start with discussions on trending topics relevant to your growth. Then we unbox solutions to common challenges we face daily. Finally, stay updated with fresh funding opportunities each week. Tune in every Thursday for new episodes, and see you there.